Hello, I am Bernice Branch, Chief Deputy Clerk of the Expungement Department and your host for this edition of Clerk in the Community. The Expungement Department was recently opened to respond to the need for specialized services to provide constituents with effective and efficient help with expunging or sealing their record. To expunge a record means that law enforcement agency will physically destroy the record and remove the petitioner's name from the official public record. Our office does not physically destroy the record, but impounds records relating to arrest charges that a court order expunged. To seal a record means the record will be unavailable to the public without a court order. Our office, the individual's name will not appear on our electronic docket. Police agencies, prosecutors, and employees that require a fingerprint background check will still have access to the record. If a record is not eligible for expungement or to be sealed, there are other options to assist the public, such as filing for clemency or obtaining a certificate of good conduct. Today, our discussion will focus on cannabis expungements. Remember, the Office of the Circuit Court of Cook County is the keeper of the records. Our office provides information, not services. Yet, we partner with different service providers to assist our customers with specialized resources for their different circumstances. Our two partners joining us today are Attorney Josh Niewoehner, Supervising Attorney of the New Leaf Cannabis Expungement Program of Coordinated Advice and Referral Program for Legal Services, also known as CARPOS, and Attorney Branden Williams, Supervising Attorney of the Criminal Record of Cabrini Green Legal Aid, also known as CGLA.
Thank you for that introduction.
Would you both introduce yourselves and give us a brief description of your service your office gives? We will start with Attorney Josh Niewoehner, then Attorney Branden Williams.
Thank you very much for having us, Bernice. I'm very happy to be here. I'm an attorney, as you mentioned, with CARPOS. My title at CARPOS is the New Leaf Cannabis Expungement Supervisor. CARPOS is an institution in the nonprofit world. They've been around for about 30 years now. We were the first legal aid hotline in the country. Besides New Leaf, we manage a general hotline for just about any area of the law, a hotline for housing and consumer debt issues, and a hotline for military members, veterans, and their families. We also have various desks at the courthouses to help people with their cases. Our website is carpels.org. Everything, including New Leaf, is free of charge.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Branden Williams. I'm the Supervising Attorney of the Criminal Records Program at Cabrini Green Legal Aid. At CGLA, we provide holistic legal services for individuals and communities negatively impacted by the criminal legal system. These services include assisting with expunging and sealing criminal records, civil legal assistance with housing and family law matters, criminal defense, policy change, and social work assistance. You can reach us at cgla.net, and all of our services are free for the services I just described.
Is it okay if I refer to you as Josh and Branden throughout this discussion?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Now we will discuss some general questions and scenarios regarding cannabis expungement. We'll begin with Josh and then Branden, and please feel free to add any additional information if you can.
Okay, thanks, Bernice.
Has the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act impacted cannabis expungements?
Yes, it has, Bernice. The 2019 Act that legalized recreational cannabis in Illinois contained certain provisions aimed at restorative justice for people who've been negatively impacted by the war on drugs. Specifically, these provisions allowed for expungement of what we call minor cannabis offenses. Normally, you cannot expunge, but you can only seal convictions in Illinois. Now, after this 2019 Act, misdemeanor and Class 4 felony convictions for cannabis can be expunged. This has all been codified at the back of the Illinois expungement and sealing statute.
Branden, would you like to add anything?
Sure. So this act also covers Section 5 of the Criminal Identification Act, in which if you manufacture or deliver cannabis, that can also, some of those minor convictions can now also be expunged.
Okay. And what is considered a minor cannabis offense?
A minor cannabis offense is defined by the statute as violations of Section 4 or Section 5 of the Cannabis Control Act concerning not more than 30 grams of cannabis. These are offenses for possession or manufacturing and delivering or possession with intent to deliver not more than 30 grams of cannabis, as long as there wasn't a penalty enhancement or a connection to a violent crime. I'd also note that possession of up to 500 grams of cannabis is a Class 4 felony, so the law makes those cases expungible as well.
Okay. And what cannabis records can be automatically expunged?
The 2019 law mandated automatic expungement by law enforcement of minor cannabis offenses that did not result in convictions. However, we want to be clear here, under this portion of the law, court records were not mandated to be expunged. In order to have court records expunged, an order still has to be signed by a judge. The clerk maintains the records, as you mentioned, Bernice, but they cannot expunge or seal them without a court order. Convictions for minor cannabis offenses could potentially be pardoned by the governor and then expunged in court. And while this has happened with many cases, there's still a lot of cases out there that remain on people's records. Because of this, we encourage everyone, regardless of which type of cannabis case they had, to talk to an attorney in order to file a petition to expunge their non-convictions or to vacate and expunge their convictions in court so that they can clear their court record.
Okay. Josh, you have?
I think he had it all covered.
Okay. And what can people do if a cannabis case on their record that are not considered minor?
That's a good question, Bernice. So while the 2019 Act specifically deals with what we call minor cannabis offenses, the regular portion of the expungement and sealing statute that was in place before 2019 and continues to be in place today allows for non-convictions for any cannabis offenses to be expunged and for any cannabis conviction to eventually be sealed.
And just for clarification, non-convictions means somebody was just purely arrested for, or they were released without charging, or if it was they went to trial and they were found not guilty. Those are the type of cases which are non-convictions, which can be automatically expunged.
Okay, thank you for that. Who should apply to have cannabis cases reviewed by New Leaf?
Anybody that's ever been arrested for cannabis in Illinois can apply to have their cases reviewed by New Leaf. People don't need to do all this analysis we just talked about on their own. It's somewhat complicated. We're lawyers and we need to review the statutes. Even lawyers sometimes have trouble reviewing the law and interpreting it exactly the same way. So we can help people with reviewing their records. What New Leaf does is we're a network of 18 nonprofits throughout the state working together to help people expunge and seal their cannabis and even their non-cannabis cases eventually. I'm saying that because I'm encouraging people, again, who've ever been arrested for cannabis anywhere in Illinois to sign up, even if they have non-cannabis cases on their record.
Josh, how does Carpels and CGLA team up to assist individuals with expungements?
At Carpels, we do the intake for the New Leaf program. You can sign up online at newleafillinois.org. It's very easy. The application takes 1 or 2 minutes to sign up. You can also call us at 855-986-5885. 963-9532. After people sign up, we review their case or cases. We determine what they're eligible for. We offer a free legal consultation with one of our lawyers over the telephone. Based on where their case was, we make a referral to one of our New Leaf partners to handle the case in court. CGLA is one of our referral partners. They've been doing this for a long time. They fight for people, and they're experts in the expungement and sealing department.
Okay. Okay, now we will switch to Branden. How does an expungement work?
Sure. So it's not a easy process, and that's why the attorneys and organizations are part of New Leaf are there to help. Expungement is a petition filing process, meaning you must file the proper paperwork in the clerk of the circuit court in the county in which you were arrested. Once the petitions have been filed, you may get a hearing date, or in some cases, your petition would be granted and an order would be signed by a judge granting your petition to expunge and or seal. If there's an objection, let's say by the state's attorney, you'll have an opportunity for a hearing, and that goes before a judge where you will argue why your petition should be granted. If your petition is then granted, the order needs to be processed by the arresting agencies, the Illinois State Police, and the court clerks. This process should be done in about 60 days after the court order has been granted.
Okay. And how long does the process take?
It really depends on the county in which you are filing. On average, I would say if you are filing a petition or motion anywhere outside of Chicago, it should take about 3 to 6 months to have a hearing and have the order processed. In Chicago, because of the high volume of petitions that are being filed, it can take around 8 to 12 months.
Okay. And how much does it cost, and is there any fee assistance?
So to file a petition in most counties is going to cost you about $152. It also depends, what county you're filing and what the filing fees are for those counties with the clerk's office. However, you may be able to get those fees waived if your income falls under the Illinois poverty guidelines.
Okay. And what type of records are not expungible?
There are really only 4 major areas in which your convictions cannot be sealed or, in cannabis cases, expunged. And those 4 areas in which you're not able to really get any criminal records relief in are domestic battery and violation of orders of protection, animal cruelty, sex offenses, and DUIs or convictions for reckless driving. Pretty much everything else, including murder, arson, and armed robbery, are eligible to be sealed in the state of Illinois.
Okay. If a record is not expungible, what are other alternative forms of relief?
If for some reason your records are not eligible or you are in the waiting period in order to have your records sealed, there are what we call alternative forms of relief that will enable you to petition the court to get a certificate that can allow you to get a license, such as if you want to get your license in real estate or in cosmetology. These certificates could allow you to do that even though you still have certain types of felony convictions on your record. And then there are also certain certificates that can assist you in getting a job in the healthcare industry or even a job with the Chicago Public School System or with the Chicago Transit Authority.
Okay. And this question is for the both of you. Why should a person get their record expunged?
I would just say, Bernice, that we're in 2024 now, and I'd hope that we've come a long way from Puritanic Massachusetts in the 1640s. That's when the Scarlet Letter took place. We need to move beyond a time when people are labeled as criminals for the rest of their lives because of what happened on their worst day. Many innocent people are out there who have arrests on their records. Perhaps their case got thrown out, perhaps a motion to suppress was granted, perhaps they were found not guilty. Those arrests will remain there forever unless petitions are filed in court. Expungements and sealings help people get better jobs, housing, and education. It'll help them improve their lives, it'll help their children's lives, and in turn it'll help their grandchildren's lives. It's time to stop holding people back. There's a million reasons to get cases expunged or sealed, and it's not as burdensome as most people think. The clerk's office is helping to improve the system. This is not like having a criminal case. This can be done.
And maybe just to add on to that, getting your record cleared gives you greater access to employment, housing, and education. And these are areas that would give people a great ability to support themselves and their families.
Okay, and given your experience with communities, what communities do you think have been impacted by having records the most?
I think it's well documented that having a criminal record affects communities of color the most. Having even a minor criminal record can create an array of lifelong barriers that present obstacles to employment, housing, education, and even family reunification. That's why it's really important for you to make sure you know what's on your record and then take the next step forward in calling out organizations and getting assistance with getting your records cleared.
I would just say people of color and communities that are economically disadvantaged have been impacted by having records the most. There's a 2018 study by the ACLU that showed you're 7.5 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis in Illinois if you're black than if you're white. This is despite evidence that there's equal use of cannabis by these populations. These disparities are reflective of the criminal justice system in general, not just cannabis. Another study by the Vera Institute showed that you're more than 3 times as likely to be incarcerated if you're Latinx than if you're white.
What language barriers and obstacles need to be addressed to assist these communities with record sealing and expungements?
I'd say, Bernice, we need to get the word out, and this is falling on all of us in the legal system. We need to get the word out to populations where English isn't the primary language. Carpels and New Leaf have Spanish-speaking staff available to help. There's fear, and it's understandable, associated with going to court. People are scared of being arrested, going to jail. They think it's going to be expensive. They think it's going to take a long time. That's what New Leaf is here for. We can help you through it. It's, like I said, it's not like having a criminal case where you have to go to court time and time and time again. If you're late, you're worried about getting locked up. It's not like that. You don't have to take off work. You don't have to keep going to court over and over, as I said. You're not going to go to jail. Old clients have told me that have had cases expunged or sealed, it's like having a weight lifted off their shoulders. It's like the opposite of when they had a case. If you're unsure whether you want to start this process to clear your record, I say, sí se puede. Yes, you can.
What is the difference between having the record sealed or expunged?
Sure, I can take that. So records that can be expunged, or the difference between expungement and sealing, is basically who has access to the records. When a record is expunged, it's basically destroyed or supposed to be destroyed by the arresting agencies and it's impounded by the clerk of the circuit court. And expungements only apply to non-convictions, so arrests or arrest in which you were just arrested or you were released without charging or you were found not guilty. Sealing applies to convictions, meaning if you were found not guilty or you pled guilty, if you were found guilty or if you pled guilty and it's conviction, those cases are only eligible to be sealed. And the public does not have access to the records. So background check companies cannot see sealed records. The only people who have access to sealed records are law enforcement, state's attorneys, and then there are some employment agencies who are allowed by law by the state to do fingerprint-based background checks. So those are your school systems and your government agencies.
Okay. And
Now, I would just add quickly to that. When I was in private practice, I used to always tell people, you want to expunge your case if you can. Sealing is second best, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It's very good. It clears cases from public background checks. So for most people, it's going to really help them. It's my understanding that Illinois has one of the best expungement and sealing statutes in the country. So this is something that we all can really take advantage of.
And if you've had your record sealed and or expunged, and let's say you go apply for a job and it's a background check and your records are still coming up, there are federal laws and state laws in place that you can take action to make sure those records are properly expunged or sealed. And there are even, in some cases, federal lawsuits that can be filed depending on the violation that may have occurred when these background check companies do their searches.
okay. So my question is, so basically, sealing and expungement is, well, expungement, no one can ever see your record. It just disappears, right? And sealing, some people require fingerprinting will be able to see your record.
Correct.
Is that true? Okay. Okay. Now, what is the requirement also for like people getting that the 298, the fee waiver? Like, what are those requirements?
So every courthouse does a little different, but basically a person just needs to fill out what's called a 298 fee waiver petition. It's pretty basic information, and then you must go before a judge, and a judge decides whether your fee petition will be granted, meaning all your fees will be waived for any court costs associated with filing your petitions to expunge or seal.
And another question, what if a petitioner comes up to file an expungement? They have municipal case numbers, they have district case numbers. Do we charge the one fee, but how does that get separated? You know how they have the districts and municipal, because I know with us at 26th Street, we only handle Muni 1 cases. So I'm wondering how do we separate the two?
Sure. So every criminal case either has a municipal number and or a criminal case number, no matter which district you're arrested or which county you're arrested in. And whatever case number is associated with those arrests or convictions, those are the numbers you're going to place on the petition. So if you have both a criminal case number and a municipal number, you're going to place both of those on the petition. And the numbers are going to dictate, how those records get expunged or sealed.
Right. And I looked at some. I know you can list so many cases on one petition. I was like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, there's additional pages. There's Illinois. So the Illinois Supreme Court has a website where you can access statewide forms where you can use these forms to file your expungement or sealing petitions anywhere in the state. So the form is universal. You can file it in any county, and there's even instructions and step-by-step instructions for people to get assistance when they're filling out the petitions. But we really want to recommend you try to get an attorney to assist you, because that's going to ensure that you've gotten all your records covered and you got everything on the petition and you have everything ready to go when you're ready to file your petition.
Okay. And myself, I've after the ribbon cutting, I was reading up and I've understood that we are having starting March 5th that a person that comes up to file an expungement, they'll get a court date set up to 75 days out. That's what I was told. So that's great.
Correct. The presiding judge of the criminal court issued a new order in order to try to cover as much as they can in regards to the petition being filed, so that when a person files a petition, they get a hearing or status date within 75 days to find that petition. Prior to that, there was no deadline. People could get court dates a year, 2 years later, just depending on what county they're filing in, especially in Chicago. So this new order is to make it easier for people to file their petitions and also get them in court sooner than what they were doing before.
Right. Is it a reason why the process takes so long?
Like with any court case, as most people know, it just takes time. There's statutory objectives, once you file a petition, a state attorney has 60 days to object to it, so that's automatic 60-day wait before anything can be done. And then, you need to gather what's called mitigation or evidence to support your petitions. You have to have hearings, there's court dockets. So there's a number of factors as to why it could take quite a while to get your cases expunged or sealed.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. The clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County provides the participants in the judicial system with efficient and transparent services. This program is a means to that end. Thank you very much to our special guest, Attorney Josh Niewoehner, from Corpus and Attorney Branden Williams from Cabrini Green Legal Aid today for their time and insight. That does it for this episode of Clerk in the Community. I am Bernice Branch, Chief Deputy Clerk of the Expungement Department. Thanks for watching.